The world's forest resources are called upon to provide many necessities of life, from the air we breathe to the paper products we use every day. Forests have historically played an important and environmentally sound role in the growth of society. Trees are grown, harvested for important products, and more trees grow in their place, allowing the cycle to start all over again. As society has become urbanized, people have become increasingly estranged from the forests. Today, people often see trees as things to admire, climb, and photograph, but they forget the importance of trees in making a variety of products for our everyday use. In fact, they often mistakenly believe that harvesting trees is bad for the forest. But just as the land must be managed by the farmer for a bountiful harvest, the forest must also be managed. It seems the only people not worried about the rumored demise of our forests are the forest owners and those who depend on the forest products industry for their livelihood. That's because they know that New York forests are growing healthier than ever. In fact, as of 1993, according to the U.S. Forest Service, New York has more forest land now than it did in 1825, 1950, and 1980. In 1880, forests covered just 25% of New York State. Today, those forests have grown to account for 62% of the state land, an amazing 18.6 million acres. You can see evidence to support these statistics in virtually every woodlot in the form of stone walls, indicating that at one time there was a field there. More than 14 million acres are owned and cared for by individual landowners, family-owned sawmills, pulp and paper companies, and other private owners. The remaining acreage is owned by local, state, or federal government. These private landowners have the greatest possible incentive to care for and grow New York's forests, a direct financial interest in the future of the trees, along with, in most cases, a deep emotional attachment to their land. A study by the U.S. Forest Service shows they are doing an outstanding job. Each year, more than 3 times as much wood is grown than is harvested, lost to disease, blowdown, development, or pests. This growth is found in each of the 12 commercial species. The Forest Service has also found New York trees to be bigger than ever before. The Hudson Valley is hardwood country and exemplifies what is especially unique about the quality and composition of the forests of the Northeast. Rich, deep soils, left by glacial deposits throughout the valley, grow the world's finest red oak, white oak, sugar maple, cherry, and ash. Manufacturers from around the world are drawn to the quality of the timber growing here. Mid-Hudson Hardwoods is a full-service forestry and forest products company designed to help satisfy this worldwide demand, while at the same time delivering professional forestry work to the landowner.
Hi, I'm Brian Rico, president of Mid-Hudson Hardwoods. The forest products industry, much like the forest itself, is very dynamic. A lot has changed in our industry in the last 20 years. Years ago, landowners didn't have a lot of choices when it came to how they sold their forest products or who they sold them to. Generally, they sold them to a sawmill owner who would manufacture lumber and then sell the green lumber with basically one product. Today, the emphasis is on maximum utilization. Nearly every portion of a harvested tree is utilized to its fullest potential. At Mid-Hudson, our intense sorting process ensures that the right logs get to the right customer, maximizing profits to the landowner, the customer, and to us. It's a win-win situation. I've lived here all my life, so I'm also a Hudson Valley landowner. I understand firsthand the value of your land and why certain landowners would have reservations about a conventional timber harvest. That's why we've developed harvesting solutions that meet the needs of forest landowners while at the same time maintain the value of their land, sometimes even increase it. Take the time to visit one of our completed harvest sites with our company foresters and see firsthand the quality of our work.
Here's what one of our past landowner clients has to say.
But all you got to do is take one walk in the woods and then you'll know right away what kind of work the people do. Basically everything was done as far as I was concerned on a professional basis. Whether it was my dealings with you, as far as how much timber and what it would cost. The fellas that did the cutting, they even dropped the trees where they would do the least amount of damage when a tree comes down. We have an enormous amount of deer, so now we're also helping our conservation problems by getting rid of some of the bigger trees, which means that some of the smaller ones and the brush will start to grow. We have a lot of wild turkey here. They all appreciate all this stuff down because it gives them more scratching and pecking ground. I mean, everything here is benefited. If you have a big chunk of property and you have no way of walking through it, you have no way of enjoying it. So when you put roads like this in, at least to people like myself, you have your own nature trails. If you have a prospective buyer, they've got a place to go. You can walk and show them what you're looking at instead of trying to crash through brambles and briars. So it does add value to your property by being able to walk through it. We would have no problem recommending Mid-Hudson hardwoods for timbering our property.
Mid-Hudson Hardwoods Forestry Department is staffed by graduate foresters who work with private landowners to help them achieve a financial return on their land investment and to satisfy their personal objectives for their property. By promoting and implementing proper forest management techniques, we help to ensure a renewable resource for future generations. The first step in a timber sale is to meet with the landowner and find out what their goals and plans for the property are. Our main objective is always to meet the needs of the landowner. All of our decisions are based on what the landowner plans to do with his or her property. Step 2, the timber cruise, is an estimate of the volume of timber growing on a specific site. It is designed to give the landowner a minimum value should the potential exist for a timber sale. Once the minimum value has been determined and a contract is signed, the forester returns to the woodlot for step number 3, the marking tally. Each tree selected for harvest is marked with paint at 4.5 feet and on the stump. A measurement is taken to determine exactly how many board feet are contained in the tree. The final sale price is generated from these figures, taking into consideration the quality, size, and species of the timber. The fourth step is the harvest. To ensure a smooth harvest, the forester makes sure the job is laid out properly. This includes such things as location of skid roads, obtaining stream crossing or harvesting permits from local authorities, location of loading areas, and the general time schedule of the harvest. Some sites are sensitive and may only be harvested under frozen or dry conditions to minimize environmental impacts. Once the job is laid out, the harvesting crews move in and go to work, carefully felling the marked trees so as to minimize the damage to smaller pole-sized trees. That represents the next timber crop. A rubber tire articulating machine called a log skidder transports the logs over the skid roads to the landing area. Here, the logs are cut into different lengths to meet the customer's needs. The logs are loaded onto company trucks and delivered to the log yard. The final stage of the harvesting operation is restoration. Skid roads are regraded, and any ruts that may have occurred are removed. Water bars are installed on steep slopes to minimize erosion from runoff, and landing areas are cleaned of debris, reseeded, and hayed. At Mid-Hudson Hardwood, we rely on a maximum utilization policy regarding our timber resources. Every portion of a harvested tree is utilized to its fullest potential. By sorting and marketing these products directly to customers around the world, it allows us to pay a premium for the raw material, while at the same time delivering customized timber harvests to meet the demands of today's landowners in the Hudson Valley. The highest quality logs are loaded into containers and exported overseas to be used for veneer. A number of applications, from furniture to automobile dashboards. The next major use is for high-grade lumber used by sawmills to manufacture furniture. Some are exported overseas, some to Canada, and some are used by Mid-Hudson hardwood, depending on species and quality. A large percentage of the lumber manufactured from those logs goes into hardwood flooring as well. The lower grade saw logs are used to manufacture industrial grade products, such as railroad ties, pallets, and products of that nature. Tops from harvested trees and otherwise unusable portions of the tree are utilized for firewood or ground into landscape mulch and delivered locally. All logs are debarked before being manufactured, and the bark is sold as mulch. The slabs are chipped, and the chips are processed by pulp and paper mills to manufacture the paper for products we use every day. Even the sawdust is used. Sawdust is sold to local farmers for animal bedding, or compressed into pellets to be used as fuel for pellet stoves. Companies like Mid-Hudson Hardwood will continue to work with private landowners, helping them realize that they are stewards of the land. This will ensure that the fine job already being done to manage this valuable resource will continue. The beauty lies in the fact that America's timber is truly our only renewable resource. By proper care and management, our forests will always provide the necessities of life that we all require. We have not inherited the land from our ancestors. We're really just borrowing it from our children. For more information, call Mid-Hudson Hardwoods at 518-398-0060.